Hello, good evening. Good evening. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, good evening. Please let me know on the comment section if you can hear me, okay? No, hear me. Let's see. Anayo, can you hear me? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, you can't hear me. Okay, please confirm. Okay, I put on my microphone now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Please let me know. Okay, let me know. If you can hear me, please. I need somebody to please confirm that you can hear me so that we can okay. Please put on the microphone now. So let's know. Is the sound okay? Can you hear me, please? Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you. Mary, thank you so much. I'm going to look at the name again and pronounce it. Like I said, I don't know why um, YouTube started using username to combine email and thing together. So the first thing we're going to do, so guys, welcome. And today, in today's class, I'm going to show you guys how to cut a fitted. Remember in our last class, I think it was our last class, we actually did a baggy. So I want to teach you guys how to do a fitted one, but we're going to be using our free hand, okay? And it is a simple process. So the first thing we are going to do, we're going to be marking a start line like this by using free hand here. So this is a start line, and this start line depends on how many inches you want to use for your band. That is what we are going to mark. So for this tutorial, we're going to be using 2 inches for our band, okay? So because we will use 2 inches for band, from that start line, this is how you are going to place it. So this is the front piece first. So this is how you are going to place it. You place your 2 inches like this, okay? So it is from here you are going to mark all of the measurements you are marking, okay? So when you are making a fitted trouser, your crotch measurement is going to be your exact crotch measurement. You are not going to add any over excess to it, okay? Because you need the trouser to be fit in all of the areas. So the first thing you are going to do when you place this like this is your band. You took out your band. The next thing you are going to do, okay, okay, Marilyn. Okay, Marilyn. Thank you so much. Like, hello. It's not that they just combine all things together. I don't even know how to pronounce them. Eh? Akin, your Akin, Yohande. See, you see. We just pronounce all the names together. Everything. Thing is just so confusing me these days. Okay, so the thing we want to do, let's take out our hip line. Okay, you know our hip line. Our hip line is usually between 9 and 10 inches. So that's what we use for our hip line. So for this, I'm just at the center. I will do 9.5 inches for my hip, just assuming that this is a tall person. Okay, can you see? So this is my hip line. So the next line you want to mark is your crotch line, okay? Crotch line. And like best way I have found that to measure my crotch is if my measurement is on ground, I'll pass my tape through their legs, that's from the under, and then I will measure them. And then if they are not around, for this kind of trouser, I will use my hip circumference. I'll divide my hip circumference by 4, and then I'll add like 2 inches allowance to it, okay? For this kind of fitted trouser, I'll add just like 2 inches to it. Please note, okay? For if my hip measurement is 40, I'll use 10 inches plus 12. If the trouser is going to be a high waist, I'll use 4 inches. That's plus the extra of the high waist, that's another 2 inches. So the hip is going to be 14. But for this kind of one like this, I'm going to use like 12 inches. You can add half inch to it for stitching allowance, so with that it does not get truncated. So at the end of the day, I'll add like 2.5 inches, as I'll divide my hip measurement 4 and then add 2.5 inches. Please note, for a fitted trouser. But if it's a baggy trouser, I will add as much as 3 to 4 inches to it. Okay, so this is my crotch line. So the next line mark is my knee line, because this is a fitted trouser, so all of these measurements are very important. The next measurement I want to mark is my knee line. So for this, my knee is going to be 19 inches. So you can you see the way I place my tape? 19 inches for my knee line. And then the next line I want to mark is the full length of the trouser. So the full length of the trouser, for this, I'm going to use 40 inches. So I'm just going to mark it. Can you see? This is 40 inches. All of these lines are very important. You understand? Very important when making a fitted trouser. Now we're going to start marking, okay? So the next thing we want to do, because it is a fitted trouser, I'm going to come on my waistline. I am going to come in by like 1 inch. That's, I'll just come in by 1 inch like this. See, I'll come in by 1 inch, and then the next thing I want to do, I want to mark. This is my hip line. I want to mark. Remember, those what do you call it? Those mark of, what do you call it, like hip that we normally mark on our skirt. I need that because it is fitted. So I'm going to mark a very distinct hip line like this. Okay, so at this point I'm going to stop. Just watch. I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to come to my knee like this. So just ignore this one. I'll stop here. So my knee line, I'm going to come to my knee line. On my knee line, because I want a fitted trouser, on my knee I'm going to come in like 1.5 inch. Can you see? I'll come in by 1 point. So once I come in by 1.5 inch, from this point like this is going to be curved like this. Can you see the way it is curved? You can see, you bring it to your hip line and then you curve it in. Okay, so the next thing I want to come to the down part of my trouser. Like I said, I want fitted trouser. Okay, so from this part I'm going to just come in from my edge. I'll come in like maybe like 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so once I come in like 1/4 of an inch, the next thing I am going to connect this line like this, because I am making a fitted trouser. I'm going to connect this, like I'm coming like 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 inch. I'll just mark it. So this is going to be inch, not 1/4 of an inch. Please note, not 1/4 inch, but 1/2 inch. Can you see from here to this point? Quarter, 1/2 inch. Okay. Okay. So okay, no problem. Let's go over the measurements again. So the first line, we have our waistline. You take out 2 inches for your, because of your band. You take out 2 inches, and then you're going to mark your, after that, the next going to mark is going to be your hip line, okay, which is normally usually between 9 and 10. And then the next line you're going to mark is your crotch line. So for this, like I said, if your customer is around, you can take your tape through their under of leg, that's their thigh, and measure it. But if they are not around, divide their hip circumference 4 and then add like 2.5 inches. Okay, so that will give you your crotch line. And then the next line you're going to mark is your knee line, which is 19 or 20 on how tall. And then you mark the full length, the person's full length of trouser. Okay. So when you are done with that line, the next thing you are going to do, you're going to come to your waistline. You're going to come in by 1 inch. You mark the 1 inch. The reason for this 1 inch is I want to shape my trouser. I know it's a fitted trouser. You understand? I will need it shaped. Once I do that, I'm going to create a curve, like a skirt curve, like a hip curve. I'll just create it here. And then once I get to the hip point, and then I'll come to my knee line. And then on that knee line, I'll come in by 1.5 inches from the knee line. I'll come in by 1.5 inches. And then once I come in by 1.5 inches, I am going to connect it from that hip line to that. You can see the shape that it has already. Can you see? And then when I'm going to come to the down part, and then from the down part I'm going to come in by 1/2 of an inch. Can you see? From the down part, that's the hem of the trouser, I'll come in by 1/2 of an inch, and then I will connect that line. So this gives me a beautiful shape for my fitted trouser. So once I'm done with this, the next thing I want to do, I want to start imputing my measurement. If you have questions, please, you can ask your questions. Okay, so I'm going to come to this part. We want to start adding a measurement. So for the waistline measurement, I'm going to use for this, I'm going to use for the waistline measurement, I'm going to use 34. Okay, so 34, I'm going to divide that 4. I'll mark it here, and then I'm going to add just like 1 inch for my dart. So note, because it is a fitted pant, so you need a dart. And then on this part, how many inches you want to use for your trouser, you can use 1 inch, you can use 1.5. So for this case, I'm just going to add 1.5 inch. I'm going to mark it there, okay? The next thing, I'll come to my hip line. I want to mark my hip measurement. For this case, my hip is 40. I'm going to mark my hip measurement. I'll divide that to 4. I'll place it here, okay? And then remember, on this part, we use like 2.5 inches here. So I'm going to bring that in. What is that 2.5 inches? 1.5 inches for allowance and then 1 for that. So I'll bring that back into this point, and then I'll come to this part, which is my crotch line. On this crotch line is where I'm going to place my thigh measurement, which is very, very, very important. So you're going to mark your thighs, divide your thighs into two. This one, you're not dividing this one into three. For instance, if your thigh is 26, you divide that into two. If your thigh is 24, you divide that into two. You can mark it here like this, okay? And then you add your stitching allowance. So once you mark that, you are done. So the next want to do now, we want to connect these lines like this, okay? So I'm just going to connect it like this, and then I would from here I'll connect it like this. Can you see the beautiful crotch that I brought out? You see the beautiful crotch line that it brought out for me. So you mark it this way. So I've added our crotch. So once it comes like this, the next thing you want to do, you want is the fitted trouser. You are going to come to this knee line. You understand? Remember that we use 12 inches. So you're going to come to this point like this. You're going to mark the inches you get, and then you add your allowance. You can understand? So you're going to mark that your line, and then you add your allowance like this. And then once you mark that allowance, you're going to create a shape. It's going to definitely give you like this. Can you see? You see the way the trouser is looking, it is fitted. Now you're going to come to this down part of my trouser. When you're sewing a fitted trouser, measure the down part of their leg, how wide they want the trouser to be. You understand? So for instance, if the leg, they want it to be 20 inches or 20 inches, you just mark it here. You divide that into two, you mark it, and then you add your stitching allowance. So once you mark it like that, you add your stitching allowance. You're going to use your long straight ruler. You will connect it. You get. So you're going to use this now. You connect your trouser. So this is how your trouser is going to look. So you see the shape of our trouser. Can you see how it looks? So the professional fitted trouser. So that's what you need. So the next thing I want to do, I want to cut this off, because this is what we will use to the back. Okay. So I'm going to cut this. So you can see the way I'm navigating the curve, I'm navigating everything, and then I navigated the side and front. Very important. The next thing, I'll come to the crotch line like this, and then I am going to cut this. You can see the way I am cutting it, okay? And then I will cut this like this. You can see the way trouser is. It is a very professional trouser. You see it. So now, next thing we want to do, we want to cut the back. So if you have questions, please drop your question. You guys should please help me and like this video. We have just 9 likes. If you should like it, I would appreciate that, okay? So now I'm going to take this, yes, and then I'm going to place the front piece like, okay? So I'll place it, and then just watch how and what I am going to be doing, okay? So I'll mark it like this. So I want to add for the top part. I'm going to have it 2 inches, clear 2 inches between the up and down, so you can see my 2 inches, okay, between the back and the front. So that's one. And then I'm just going to move this like this, and then make sure my lines are the needed ones are in place, okay? So the next thing I want to do, I want to come to this side. So on this side, I want to mark half of an inch. That's from the back pattern. I'll come in by half of an inch. So once I come in by half of an inch, the next thing I want to do, I want to blend that half of an inch, that half inch rather. I'll just blend it with. So I'm going to go over that again because of the network. The network actually went off. Okay. So for the back piece, so this is our back piece. So let me just start it again afresh. Let me turn the fabric like this. So I'm going to take this like this. I'm going to place it for the back piece. Okay. So I'll place it like this. As I'm placing it, the next thing I want to do, I want a clear difference between the back and the front. And that clear difference is going to be 2 inches difference. So I'm going to place it like this. I'll place the 2 inches like this. So you can see this is 2 inches. I'm going to place that. And then the next thing I want to do after placing this, I want to come to the side of my trouser. That's the front piece. I'll come to the side and then I'm going to mark half inch. So this is half inch. I'm going to come in by half inch. And then from that half inch that I came in, I'm going to mark that half inch. So I'm going to mark that half inch. I'm just going to blend it like this. Let it come into this part like this. And then as I get towards the down part of my trouser, I'm going to come in by half inch. This side is going to be half inch. Okay. So once I mark that half inch from this part like this, if you notice, I have something like half inch difference for the side of my back trouser. Can you see? So I'll mark it like this. Okay. So the next thing I am going to do, I've already recapped it. I've already done that. Starting from this the back piece. Kai, I've injured myself, like seriously. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to come to this crotch line. Okay, so the difference between my crotch, I'm going to use 2 inches. So you can see, so this is going to be my 2 inches. I'm going to mark that 2 inches here. Very important. And then I'm going to come to this point like this. I'm going to mark my 2 inches here like this. And then as I come up, once I come to this top, I'm going to reduce it to 1 inch. Okay, or half inch. Kai, I just injured myself. So the next thing I am going to do, from this part, I am going to mark this like this, and then I'm going to connect this like this. Okay, so I'll just connect it up like this. And then once I connect it up from this point, I'm going to blend this like this. Can you see? It blends into this point like this. Just, when we're blending our skirt waist, it blends into this point like this. Okay, and then this comes like this. So from here, these 2 inches, I am going to start marking it like this. Okay, can you see the way I'm doing it? I'll just continue marking it. So the difference that I'm going to have that 2 inches run like this. It's going to run, and then towards the down part, I would reduce it a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, so let's measure. I'm using my free hand. So like I said, this is a method that I've tried a million times and it works. So you can see the difference between the down part. You can see. So if this allowance is too big, that's the problem you people have. You will say you sew trousers and the edges are bending because the back edges are too much. So it tends to drag the whole trouser. And then before you know what is happening, the edges will be bending because it is too much. You understand? So you have to keep it proportional. So the next thing we are done with this. So just see what we have. Okay, just see what we have. So I am going to cut. So the first thing I'm going to cut, just watch how I'm cutting it. So like I said, the difference between the back here is just like half inch. Okay, so use half inch. That works perfectly well. It works perfectly well. So I'll just take that out. Okay, and then this part I blended into this part. I'll cut that out, okay? And then the next thing I want to cut this crotch area like this. Can you see? Okay, so the next thing that is remaining now is for me to cut the side. So like I said, on the sides, on this other side of the back, you can start with 2 inches from the top, and then once you get to the down, you can reduce it to like 1 inch or 1.5 inches, okay? So you can see this is all you need to be able to cut a professional trouser. You can see the way it is looking. You see the difference, this one, and then you see this. So you see everything. So you see the top part, you see the way it is looking. And then make sure you blend it. And then on this side, you have half inch. And then when you want to add your pocket to it, here's what you will do. You're going to come, this is the front, you're going to come in by 1 inch. Depends on how wide, how open you want your trouser to be. And then from that part, you're going to mark it into maybe like 1 inch above the hip line or half inch. So this is going to be your pocket for your front piece, guys. So guys, this is it. This is the trouser, our professional trouser, fitted trouser with your free hand. So for those of you that have been getting so confused with pattern, so this is it. I've come out of my line this evening to show you guys how to cut trouser with your free hand. Okay, all right. Okay, no, you say, what question, Chioma? You said the 2 inches crotch difference, is it for um all body size? Yes, it's for all body size. You understand? Like I said, use 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches if you are dividing the waist. Okay, yes, okay, I get what you are asking. So here is this part you are talking about. Yes, the 2 inches it is for all the body size. I thought you were talking about when you are trying to get your crotch line. No, if it is this point, let me see. This point you are talking about, yes, the 2 inches is perfect, like very perfect for all of the body sizes. Okay, so let's see. Let's see, sure. It's not a bad this. I don't know why YouTube are holding. Another moderator just did what? Like, hello. Okay, thank you so much. All right. Okay. Okay, Dorcas. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Mazuba, you're welcome. Waila, you're welcome. So I'm just trying to check and greet everybody that tuned into our stream tonight. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'll see you guys on Monday. Tomorrow I will not be coming up for our evening live stream. I'll not be around. So thank you so much. God bless you all.